Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and you know how I've been talking about how I'm not doing XRP yield yet. I'm not borrowing against my XRP yet. What I'm waiting for is exactly what Jim Bazzani from Caleb and Brown is describing here. I want someone like a Caleb and Brown who is my partner, by the way. I want someone with reputational risk and a business risk that's going to put together a product that takes the risk level down as much as possible. There's always going to be risk associated with this stuff, but I want someone that's got a big company that has a lot to lose by me losing any of my XRP. Okay, that's what I'm waiting for. I want you to listen. This is a very responsible conversation about how they're approaching yield on XRP.
We understand that yield generation staking, it's a native part of crypto. I can attest to that. I use DeFi protocols all the time. So it's certainly something that we're exploring right now. And whether we do it through a third party, whether we work really closely with Ripple, we have an exciting announcement to make there at some point, an
exciting announcement with Ripple, by the way.
I'll tease here around some of the stuff that our operations team are doing with the Ripple team currently. But in terms of DeFi specifically, it's very much us doing our due diligence, and we're in that phase right now. So it's looking at the risks. Certainly from a regulatory perspective, it makes life a little easier, because just from a licensing perspective and a regulatory perspective, it's a very big difference to be someone that is a custodian but also allows clients to buy spot versus offering yields and what have you. So working through that as well is a big component of it. But certainly as a business, we are doing our due diligence. But as I mentioned at the start, we take our time. We are going to make sure that we assess all the options. We're not going to offer something that's going to come at the expense of our custody solution. Again, that's the number one thing, that client assets are protected over the 4 or 5% yield that you could potentially earn. The other interesting component of it, Zach, is XRP specifically, which I imagine most people on this call is the asset that most are interested in. We all know it's not a natively staked asset. So in order to earn and generate that yield, you need to be a bit more flexible, and it needs a bit more innovative thinking around it. I know that the Flare network is something that you've been presenting on recently, which I think is a great product as of right now. But all the steps involved with even doing that there's a lot of different things that need to be done. So for XRP specifically, we are looking through it. Ultimately, as I mentioned, there's always going to be risk with yield generation and staking, but how do we minimize that risk as much as possible? How do we limit smart contract risk? How do we limit counterparty risk? And how do we offer something that we can make sure that our clients have that peace of mind? So unfortunately, I don't have anything tangible to say today, but I know that, look, when I was at XRP Vegas, probably the most common question, we are looking into it as a business. So if you are a client of ours and you're waiting, I apologize, but it's by design. We want to make sure that we don't rush something like this, because as well as once you offer it, it's out in the market. And so we want to make sure that the product is as good as possible before it goes live.
Okay. This is why I keep telling you right now, all I'm focused on is keeping my XRP safe at Caleb and Brown. It's safe in Fireblock's institutional custody, which is the same custody used by BNY and a lot of other large firms. You can go, if you want to open an account like I did, you can go to xrpwealth589.com, and I created that .com just to forward you easily, so you would have something you could remember to forward you to my page here on Caleb and Brown. Then you just hit sign up today. We've got a 239 XRP, and here's our old buddy Mike Novogratz this morning on CNBC.
Of the sort of upside down.
Oh, by the way, you're not going to want to miss what I talk about in the private group today, because there was something huge missed in the EverNorth announcement. And this rabbit hole goes deep, folks. You're not going to want to miss this. I caught it yesterday and I forgot to bring it up. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you down memory lane. I've covered this thing before, a long time ago. I spotted it, and I'm not wrong about this one. So you can go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon, or you can join through YouTube by clicking join below any of these videos, or you can join through X by hitting subscribe. And here's Mike Novogratz.
Side that you see as a trader in Bitcoin right now, how do you think about it? We've had obviously all sorts of folks from Tom Lee and others who've come on and said by the end of the year we could be at $250,000 for this coin. Obviously, others like Kathy Wood have even more aggressive and optimistic views longer term out. But where are you right this moment?
Yeah, listen, the end of the year is only 2.5 months away. And so there would have to be a heck of a lot of, crazy stuff to really get that kind of momentum. I do think, we should hold 100, 100 or somewhere close to that should be the downside. And on the upside, you don't really accelerate until you take out 125. And so the most likely outlook is we're rangy between, 100 and 120 or 125, unless we take out the top side. We could take out the top side if, the president prematurely makes a move on the Fed, which, they could target that easily by the end of the year. And if this bill gets passed, I mean, those are the two kind of catalysts I see.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't.
Oh, yeah. There's a catalyst, all right. Uh-oh. This is David, we showed you this video in the last video. David Andolfato, he's Federal Reserve. This was from 2014, Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. He says the effect of this, he's talking about Bitcoins being taxed, the effect of this and similar rulings serve to diminish the attractiveness of Bitcoins as a currency. Ripple, a winner? Question mark. I think Ripple is going to be a winner. And I've always said, I believe it might just be at the institutional level, but I believe they're going to remove taxes on XRP transactions. It might only apply to institutions, though. That's kind of my thinking. New tariffs on China will rise to 155% effective November 1. More negotiation going. If that causes the XRP price to go down, I will be in there buying. Fidelity says digital assets are becoming central in advisor-client conversations. Who could have called this? I called this 5 or 6 years ago. I said not just one of them are coming, they're all coming. And this is the asset class to swallow all other asset classes. Another thing I told you is that Starlink will have nodes on those satellites, and that is how I believe Ripple and Stellar, they've been talking about banking the unbanked for years. That's how they're going to do it. Starlink will be on every phone.
It will allow SpaceX to deliver high bandwidth connectivity directly from the satellites to the phones. But there are hardware changes that need to happen in the phone. So since these frequencies are not supported in current phones, the chipset has to be modified to add these frequencies. And that probably is a 2-year time frame. So the phones that are able to use the spectrum that was acquired probably start shipping in around 2 years. And then we also need to build the satellites that are going to communicate on those frequencies. So in parallel, we're building the satellites and working with the handset makers to add these frequencies to the phones. And then the satellites and the phones will then handshake very well to achieve high bandwidth connectivity. But the net effect is that you should be able to watch videos anywhere on your phone.
Wow. And it's going to be crazy.
And do these frequencies, would they work indoors inside buildings, like
Yes.
your phone currently does? Okay.
And so will you be able to have basically
if you're in a building with a thick metal roof, then no. But
no, the same types of
normal homes. Yes, yes.
Elon, is your vision for this that instead of having an AT&T account and then roaming when you're in the UK or you're in India, it's just we could have one direct deal with Starlink. It works all over the world eventually, not today, but at some point. Is that the end goal? That basically we don't need a regional carrier. We have a global carrier, and that would be you.
That would be one of the options. To be clear, we're not going to put the other carriers out of business. They're still going to be around because they own a lot of spectrum. So there's, but yes, you should be able to have a Starlink like you have an AT&T or T-Mobile or Verizon or whatever. You should you could have a account with Starlink that works with your Starlink antenna at home with free Wi-Fi as well as on your phone, and it would be a comprehensive solution for high bandwidth at home and for high bandwidth direct to cell.
Could you buy some carriers to have more spectrum? Maybe you could buy Verizon?
Not out of the question. I suppose if that may happen.
Writings on the wall, folks. Look at this Japanese gaming firm Gumi. I'm sure I said that wrong. To join SBI Group and Ripple and Pipe for EverNorth's XRP Treasury business. Then we've got this. This is the founder and CEO of DRW Trading and BlackRock COO Rob Goldstein about what's coming.
5 years from now, that every instrument that is traded frequently will be traded on-chain.
I think it's quite clear that if there are $4.5 trillion in digital wallets
there is no way on this earth that BlackRock doesn't own a pile of XRP
today, that number is going up, not down, and that wealth accumulation is going to have the ability to create the whole portfolio in that digital wallet.
Okay, remember this graphic put out by this was put out by Anders right here. What you need to know about EverNorth, the recently announced XRP Treasury company. Well, there's something on this chart that you do need to know, and I'm about to talk about it in DAIXRP.com. This is, I think I might be the only person or one of the only people who's ever brought this up. But folks, plans within plans within plans. I think all this was planned for decades. I'm going to show you. This one's pretty eye-popping. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Tell your friends and family. Lock in. Strap in. Here we go.